In this video, we're going to learn how to factor a trinomial whose lead coefficient is not 1. In this example, we have 7x squared plus 11xy minus 6y squared, where our lead coefficient is 7. We can factor a trinomial with or without a lead coefficient of 1 using the AC method. We'll start by identifying A, B, and C. Our lead coefficient is always A. The coefficient to our middle term is B. And the coefficient of our last term here is C. I'll set up a little chart. A times C at the top, B at the bottom, and then I start filling it in. A times C is 7 times negative 6. That equals negative 42. B is equal to 11. I'm looking for factors of negative 42. In other words, two numbers that multiply together to give me a product of negative 42 that add up to give me 11. So I want two numbers that multiply to give negative 42 and add to equal 11. Let's start by looking at some of the factors of negative 42. We have negative 42 times 1, 42 times negative 1, negative 7 times 6, 7 times negative 6, 14 times 3, negative 14 times 3. Chances are, when you're working on problems like this, you won't have to write down a whole table of values. Most likely you'll recognize the factors you need right away. In our case, we're going to use 14 times negative 3. 14 times negative 3 equals negative 42, and 14 minus 3 gives us 11. So I'll fill those in and complete our chart. Now I can take and replace my middle term, 11xy, with my two new terms. I'll expand my trinomial from 3 terms to 4 terms, then factor by grouping. So I'll have 7x squared plus 14xy. It's important to include the same variables that were in the original middle term, minus 3xy minus 6y squared. I'll group the first two terms and the last two terms, and then I'll pull the greatest common factor out of each one. So for 7x squared plus 14xy, my greatest common factor, or GCF, is 7x. Factoring that out leaves me with x plus 2y. When I look at my second group, negative 3xy minus 6y squared, I see that I can factor out a negative 3y. This will leave me with x plus, watch your signs here, when we factor out a negative, this becomes positive, x plus 2y. Here, I see that these factors are identical. I rewrite them. And then I take the GCF that I factored out of each group and write it as a second factor. So now we have completely factored our trinomial. Here it is in factored form, and we've completed the problem. I hope you found this video to be helpful.